when there is no more separation between this and that, it is called the still point of the Tao. At the still point in the center of the circle, one can see the infinite in all things.
Tao 就是代表宇宙的阴阳变化的一个规律。
Primarily, Tao refers to a road, a path, a way of doing something. And so by extension, just like the English word way, it can refer to the manner in which you do something. The text is developing the idea that Tao is in effect the totality of all of the natural patterns and processes and we would say scientific laws even, by which the world proceeds, by which it develops. And I emphasize that, and I'm doing this with my hands, to emphasize that it's this dynamic concept. Tao is not something, but rather a way. So it's a set of processes or paths over time.
Well, I think the easiest way to understand it is think about the reason that most people have for believing in God. As they look at beautiful scenes of nature, they appreciate the complexity and the interaction, all the richness of the natural world, and they say there must be some cause that explains all of this. And so they have this supernatural cause, which they have a story about and invent as the cause of this beautiful nature. The Taoist just looks at the nature and says, oh, this is beautiful, and stops there. So that's the way in which it can be like a religion, but it's a religion in which you don't go to the further explanatory question. You just focus your religious attitudes, your moral attitudes, your life attitudes on nature.
The ways of men are conditioned by those of earth, the ways of earth by those of heaven, the ways of heaven by those of Tao, and the ways of Tao by the soul.
Valleys and streams are just a sort of natural structure that we find in the world. A structure that provides what you might think of as a flow. Water flows down the stream, right? And the valley forms a channel that the water flows down. And it flows in a particular direction. It flows toward the larger river and then into the sea. So this is a very rich metaphor. The metaphor seems to be suggesting that Tao is in effect the structure of the world, and that the world provides certain channels or paths that we can follow spontaneously in the same way that water flows down a smaller river until it eventually reaches the sea. These norms or paths are something that we don't create, they're in the world. We find them there. Now, we find them only to the extent that we are attempting to move in a certain direction, for instance. But if I do have the goal of reaching that point over there, and there's this river-shaped path that I can follow, it's much easier to go that way than to climb over the mountain and go around the long way, for instance. So the idea is that reality, the cosmos, is in effect structured in such a way that we can find these paths. And the sum total of these paths is Tao.
The water has no trouble finding its way. Water always finds its way. It just follows it just follows nature. It follows Earth the way we do. So yeah, it's the idea is that nature doesn't need language, doesn't need any instructions. You and I feel like we need instructions, and we want to get instructions from our religion or our God or whatever. Nature doesn't need any instructions. And if you follow nature, I think Lao Tzu's point is, you don't either.
If there is a natural order of that kind, and our society is failing to conform to it, the problem is not that we're not educating people to follow the natural order. The problem is probably the opposite. Our education is interfering with people's spontaneously following the natural order.
How you understand the nature? I say nature. The Tao say nature inside your heart, your body. Nature you cannot change the universe. You only can change yourself.
那么练这个功呢，主要是改变心理而产生这个生理上的健壮。
Taoist training, they say body is the earth, can grow everything, grow. If your body, the earth is not good, you cannot grow anything. You want to understand the Tao, so you have to understand your body. You know, the body actually, the Tao, they treat the body like a small universe. So if you don't understand your body, how you can understand the universe? So you practice Kung Fu is to be understand yourself, life, your life.
Lao Tzu's theme becomes an image for a lot of martial arts. The Chinese martial art that is most famous is called Tai Chi, or Tai Gek in Cantonese. Tai Chi is a very soft art, and it's always very flowing because you move with things. When my teacher is working on battles, I never got to the battle stage, but if he's working on battles, he never hit. He always just absorbed the blows and let his opponent fall over. His opponent would always fall over, but he would fall over of his own aggressiveness, and he would simply absorb and maintain his balance while the opponent struck. So that's an example of, not in the Lao Tzu, but a result of Lao Tzu, how the soft can overcome the hard and aggressive.
The weapon that is too hard will be broken. The tree that has the hardest wood will be cut down. Truly, the hard and mighty are cast down, the soft and weak set on high. Nothing under heaven is softer or more yielding than water. But when it attacks things hard and resistant, there is not one of them that can prevail. For they can find no way of altering it. That the yielding conquers the resistant and the soft conquers the hard is a fact known by all men, but utilized by none.
Another metaphor that we find throughout the Tao Te Ching, which compares ideal action or the following of the Tao to the movement of water. In itself, it's very soft, but eventually it can wear down hard rocks and create great canyons.
From the birth, everybody's same. When you understand the life, you understand, you can see and start. You can hear about. Then you can test everything. Then you start, spend your energy. Then they don't know how to save the energy. Always spend. So Tao have the way to tell people how to save the energy.
A lot of Taoism originated, we think, with some ideas about preserving energy, the qi or qi, pronounced in different ways in Korean, Japanese, and in Cantonese. But it is basically a breath conservation.
Can you keep the unquiet physical soul from straying? Hold fast to the unity and never quit it. Can you, when concentrating your breath, Make it soft, like that of a little child. Can you wipe and cleanse your vision of the mystery till all is without blur? Can you love the people and rule the land, yet remain unknown?
So breath is thought of as the ultimate source of power, and that's why wind is another example of something soft in the sense that it's not even tangible, and yet it can blow over the hardest, blow over the strongest trees, and they break and bend when the wind decides to blow.
有这个生命，主要就表现因为人有气。
Qi and the 血 in the Chinese medicine, they really care about it, really believe, and the qi, energy. Qi means is a leader of the blood, so it means qi strong, the circulation, the blood circulation better, So anything in the body have pain, sore, problems is because blocked. Why you blocked? Maybe injured, maybe your body too stiff, cannot move well. Long time they blocked. So we need soft, easy to understand now. Because it's soft, the qi, the blood easy to move. Then make it better circulation, 阴阳 balance.
一肉开刚，这是一个在练功上的一个术语。你像轮胎能够冲上气，能够承受几吨、几十吨的压力，这就说明一个气在人体内的那种作用，对外发放的那些力量，这就是以柔开刚。
It is because everyone under heaven recognizes beauty as beauty that the idea of ugliness exists. And equally, if everyone recognized virtue as virtue, this would merely create fresh conceptions of wickedness. For truly, being and not being grow out to one another. Difficult and easy complete one another. Long and short test one another. High and low determine one another. Pitch and mode give harmony to one another. Front and back give sequence to one another.
就是你在起身、开身的时候就是阳，在收缩的时候就是阴。这左右反转、变换的时候都是阴阳在交错。这在动作上表现是照好劲儿，在你运气方面那是看不见的，但是你的意念得这样存在。它是动作和呼吸相配合的。道理主要核心是一种平衡，是阴阳的平衡。性格上，他的一柔开刚，就是说，过于刚强的性格是容易被跌跤的，啊，过于瘫软绵软的这些性格，也是不能以这个承认大人的，他没那勇气。所以说，需要的就是这个柔中有刚的这种性格，看着表面上很弹活，实际内心里很有主张。这跟 医学跟武术理是一样的，所以说医道同源，医义同源，都是用的阴阳五行的平衡。
The idea is that when we learn a language, when we learn a social Tao, we almost always learn it by learning a language. And every time we learn a language, we learn it by learning opposites. Think about children's stories, children's books. I was really interested when my son was growing up because half of the books we picked up would have books about the ball is on top of the table, Jane is under the table. The ball is over there, you are over here. This is up, that's down. This is left, that's right. You're always learning, and you learn those distinctions together. That's Lao Tzu's point. When you learn language, you're always learning two words together. When you understand one of them, you automatically understand the other. So it's always black and white, up and down, before and after, being and non-being. Heaven and earth are a pair. Male and female are a pair. Language will always be breaking it up where there's no real division, because language requires it to divide into two. Nature doesn't divide into two. Nature is continuous. The thing that I find as a Taoist that's alienating about God worship, worshiping something outside this world, is that it takes your spirituality and focuses it away from this world and where you are. And Taoism spreads its spirituality through everything that's going on now.
As Taoism developed in Chinese history, certain aspects of Taoism became infused with certain religious beliefs and developed into something that we tend to regard as a religion, a sort of popular religion, religious Taoism.
We put 30 spokes together and call it a wheel, but it is on the space where there is nothing that the usefulness of the wheel depends. We turn clay to make a vessel, but it is on the space where there is nothing that the usefulness of the vessel depends. We pierce doors and windows to make a house, and it is on these spaces where there is nothing that the usefulness of the house depends. Therefore, just as we take advantage of what is, we should recognize the usefulness of what is not.
The chapter says, when you have something like a room or a cup, what it is that makes that useful, and the usefulness has to do with instructions, with value. So what it is that makes it valuable is the fact that there's nothingness inside. The four walls and the windows are not the source of the value, it's the space inside. That's what you use. And in the cup, you've got the cup, but it is the space inside. It's the fact that there's empty space that makes it useful. Then you've got the wheel analogy, that the wheel has 30 spokes and a hub, but if there were no hole in the hub, there would be no way for you to use that wheel to get around. So the usefulness, the utility, the value will lie in a kind of nothingness. Taos are made of empty space. They're ways we can walk, and they are only ways we can walk because there's nothing in them now, nothing blocking our way. So that, as an analogy, it helps you to appreciate that in nature, and this is again a kind of Lao Tzu theme, you've got this opposite of being and non-being. And we have a pattern, a history, a kind of convention of always valuing being. We want objects, we want things, we want value, we want gold, we want something that is tangible. And Lao Tzu is saying, oh, actually you should learn to appreciate empty space.